Most gardeners don't realize this until it's too late. Your worms don't just die off or disappear randomly. In most cases, they are actively escaping your soil because something in your garden environment has become hostile. And the biggest mistake? People keep adding organic matter while completely ignoring what the soil is doing beneath the surface. You end up with compost-rich soil that looks perfect on top, but underground it's either too acidic, too dry, or overheating. That's when earthworms leave, microbial life crashes, and plant growth slowly starts to stall even though everything looks fine. Let me be direct, if your worms are leaving, your soil is already in trouble long before your plants show symptoms. You'll notice weaker stems, slower growth, and nutrient lockout that no fertilizer seems to fix. I started paying attention to this after losing an entire raised bed of tomatoes that looked healthy for weeks, then suddenly stalled. That's when I started using a simple but powerful tool in my routine, the 4-in-1 soil moisture meter that measures moisture, pH, soil temperature, and light intensity. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out. https://amazon.to/43opmch. It's not about gadgets, it's about catching the invisible problems early, especially pH swings and moisture imbalance that drive worms away before you even notice. Most gardeners water based on habit, not data. That alone creates the perfect conditions for worm migration without anyone realizing it. Let's talk about what is actually pushing your worms out. When soil becomes a silent stress zone, earthworms are extremely sensitive to environment changes. If your soil pH drops below about 5.5 or climbs above 8, they don't adapt, they leave. The same happens when soil temperature rises above roughly 30 degrees Celsius in the root zone. In container gardens sitting under direct sun, I've measured 34 degrees Celsius soil temperatures at midday while the top layer still felt moist. That's a death trap for soil life. Another major issue is overwatering followed by drying cycles. Many gardeners think they are helping by keeping soil constantly moist, but anaerobic conditions form quickly. Worms avoid oxygen-poor soil. They literally move upward or outward to escape it. This is why I stopped guessing and started checking conditions directly in the root zone instead of the surface. The hidden relationship between pH and worm behavior. Here's something most gardening advice completely oversimplifies. pH is not just about nutrient availability. It is a biological signal for soil life. When pH drops due to excessive compost, coffee grounds, or poorly balanced manure, microbial activity shifts toward decomposition bacteria that produce heat and acids. Worms don't stay in that environment for long. In one of my kale beds, I watched worm populations drop within 2 weeks after heavy compost application because I didn't balance it with carbon material like dry leaves or coco coir. The fix wasn't adding more fertilizer, it was stabilizing the system. Once I corrected the pH back toward neutral and reduced moisture fluctuations, worm activity returned naturally within days. Soil temperature is the factor nobody talks about. If you only remember one thing from this video, remember this: worms respond faster to temperature than to fertilizer. In raised beds, especially black soil mixed with compost, heat builds up quickly. I've tested beds where the surface temperature was 27 degrees Celsius, but 10 centimeters down it was already 31 degrees Celsius. That is enough to push worms deeper or completely out of the bed. The mistake most gardeners make is assuming shade on the leaves means safe conditions underground. It doesn't. Soil heat retention is a separate problem entirely. Mulching with straw or dry grass reduced my soil temperature swings by up to 5 to 7 degrees Celsius, and that alone brought worms back into shallow feeding zones where they actually improve soil structure. Moisture balance is not just about watering more. Here's where people get it wrong. They think worms need wet soil. They don't. They need stable moisture with oxygen. When I started checking moisture levels properly instead of guessing, I realized some of my healthy beds were actually cycling between 20% and 80% moisture within 24 hours due to uneven watering. That fluctuation destroys worm tunnels and forces them to relocate. With consistent readings from the soil meter, I adjusted irrigation to maintain a stable mid-range moisture level instead of extremes. The result wasn't just more worms, it was better root development and faster nutrient uptake. When worms leave, your soil structure collapses quietly. This is the part most people miss. Worms are not just compost makers, they are soil engineers. When they disappear, you lose pore space. Water stops infiltrating evenly. Fertilizer starts leaching instead of being held in root zones. And suddenly, you're applying more inputs for worse results. I've seen this clearly in container systems. 2 identical pots, same fertilizer, same watering schedule. The one with active worm channels always outperform the sterile one by nearly 30 to 40% in growth rate over a 6-week cycle. This is not coincidence, it's soil biology doing its job. How to actually keep worms in your soil? You don't add worms and hope. You create conditions they refuse to leave. Stable moisture is the first condition. Not wet, not dry, consistent. Balanced pH is the second. If you're not testing, you are guessing, and worms don't tolerate guesswork. Temperature moderation is the third. Mulch is not optional, it is a control system for soil life. This is where the 4-in-1 soil moisture meter becomes useful in real practice. It lets you see exactly what is happening below the surface so you are not reacting blindly. I don't rely on it for decoration, it's part of how I diagnose failing beds before plants collapse. Again, I'll leave the link in the description if you want the same tool I use, https://amazon.to/43opmsh. The real secret: most gardeners miss healthy soil is not built by adding more inputs. It is maintained by stabilizing conditions so biology can work without stress. Worms are your early warning system. If they are leaving, something is already wrong: moisture instability, pH imbalance, overheating, or oxygen loss. Once you start reading your soil instead of guessing, everything changes. Fertilizer becomes secondary. Growth becomes predictable. And your garden stops feeling like a gamble. If this made sense to you, subscribe, because in the next video I'll show you how I rebuild completely dead soil in under 2 weeks using nothing but carbon balancing and microbial reactivation. Because once you understand what your soil is telling you, you stop fighting your garden, and start working with it.